into this, right? It will ask you to create a username. There, it will not be logged in default by default as a username as a root, but will have your own username there. Okay.
Okay, sir, I will do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So let me know if you have any issues. We will be here anyways. Okay. Uh,
Okay, sir.
yeah. Yeah. Dinesh, can you share your screen? I can show you how to do it in Windows 10. Basically, you need to follow the same process what Gayatri has done it here. Hello. Yeah. Anyone else have any queries?
Sir, I understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. No problem. Just make sure that your WSL is enabled. Otherwise, it will not get installed. Okay. Yeah. Any other version, Aditya, is fine as long as when she installed only just Ubuntu, right? It will always log in into the root server as a root user. You can use any of it is fine. You can use 18, 22, 20. All are fine because you will be just using for the bash. Yeah, VM is also fine. Okay. Can you show that instance of the VM, Bhavish? Can you share your screen?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you on Windows, Bhavish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are two ways. Okay. Either you can use virtual machine. This is fine. But for
Hmm.
most of the purpose, right? Even simple plain Windows is also fine. Okay. So for example, if you go to your terminal app, right, from there you can simply use like there are two ways, right? Now you're running a virtual machine on the top of Windows, and you can see that it is little bit slower, right? Because some of the
Yes, sir.
hardware is being shared by the VM, and some of the hardware is
Hmm.
being shared by the Windows. So there is a lot of memory which is being used by both the apps unnecessarily. So I would always recommend that you go with the WSL. Otherwise, you can just simply use the terminal app get access to WSL. And
Okay, sir.
once our VM is up and running, right, you can just use Windows PowerShell to log in into our VM. There you should be able to do all the tasks which you want to do. But this is good.
Hmm.
Like if you want to know how a particular operating system looks and how to interact with its GUI, right? Then it is better if you install it in the VM. But for this particular course, we will be mostly dealing with the command line interface, right? So we'll be
Yes, sir.
mostly typing out commands and learning how to work with those and how to build automated scripts and all that. So which is why it is better if you use WSL, or uh, you can just log in into our VM and practice it there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Madhur, go ahead.
So, which virtual machine would this course be including?
Uh, Krishnan, I think it is 22, right? Ubuntu
Yeah, it is 2204.
2204 Ubuntu.
And what would be the software which we would be given access to?
So essentially, you have basic GNU core utility. Okay. So what you are seeing on the lectures, right? And
Mhm.
along with that, we'll provide you some extra packages like TMS, extra, and
Okay.
you will get a RG and JQ or something like that. So we have something called VM task. So that make some additional software like packages like TLDR, which is like a easy to use man-based kind of thing. It will give you examples. Okay. So these are mentioned in a README file once you logged into the VM.
Okay. Okay.
But you cannot install any packages on your one. I mean, like for a global level.
Okay.
It is restricted because in the VM, you do not have the sudo access.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, all the core utilities you should be able to work with, all of them which will be a part of this course.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, Muthu, go ahead.
Sir,
Yeah,
what's
yeah, go ahead.
the XAMPP file which you have shared in the chat box, sir?
What file?
XAMPP file.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just he was explaining that, right? How the just give me a minute, okay?
So,
The
sorry,
if
sir,
you
I
click
didn't
on
get that.
if you click on
Ah,
it, it will take you to the Jamboard where I was gonna explain you how uh, the Linux works basically. Okay, where you're
oh,
so it was only for that. The view.
yes, sir. So we have to install that.
No, no, you don't need to install anything. Okay.
It is
Oh,
just a way
okay,
for
sir.
like
So
for us
you
to
will be
draw.
using that.
Yeah, yeah. I will be using that as and when it is necessary. Okay.
Okay,
To
sir.
explain some
Yes, sir.
concept. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Dhruv, go ahead. Hello, Dhruv. Please go ahead and ask your question. Hello. I think. Yeah. Anyone else have questions? I think Dhruv is off campus, offline. Hello.
Yeah, I think he lost his internet. He left the meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Sayan, can you just explain them the basic file system hierarchy while we are
Yeah,
here?
sure, sir. So
Just share your screen and then just explain that.
hello. Yeah, just let
Yeah.
me know if my screen is visible. Yes.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So basically, how it works in Linux, the file system is a bit different from how it works in Windows. So in Windows, you will be accustomed to using things like C drive and then D drive, right? So there are multiple drives, but whatever is there inside the drive, so that thing is still similar. So once you enter a drive, let's say you enter the C drive, you see multiple folders, right? So you see something like Windows folder, you see something like the program files folder, you may also see program files x86 folder, so things like that. So there are multiple folders there, and then inside each folder you will also have multiple folders and multiple files also, right? So this is kind of like a basic way of how directories and files are structured. So there will be multiple folders and then will be multiple files. So as you can see there, in the end, there will always be one place for all of this to start. So in Windows, there are multiple drive letters and they start the, as you can say, the tree of the file hierarchy. So you will also learn this like if you're doing some data structure things. So the trees are basically in computer science how you represent things like this. So similarly in Linux, we don't have drive letters like this. Instead, we just have one root of the file system, which is called slash or root. So not to be confused with the user root, which is a different thing. This slash is basically where the file system starts. So from here, then we have multiple folders, right? So just like inside C, we have multiple folders like Windows, program files, etc. So there are also multiple folders inside slash. So things like user, bin, lib, etc. And we also have a folder called home. So there are others. I'm not listing all of those. So now if you're using Windows, you will also be familiar with a shortcut in your desktop called My Documents, right? So if you just click My Documents, it will open a file explorer, obviously, Windows Explorer, where you get to see folders like pictures or music. So all those folders. And if you have, let's say, used Windows with multiple users, so let's say you have a user, your brother or sister has a user. So, if you put something in My Documents, then the other user, when they log in, they cannot access that. So the My Documents is basically the place where each user stores their files and the other user cannot access this. So in Linux also we have that, but in the /home. So inside /home, you will have a folder for each of the users. So let's say in this system, in this installed Linux system, there are 3 users. Let's say user one is John, one is Jack, one is Jill. So they will each have their own folder inside the /home. So whatever he wants to store inside this, it is totally up to him. So there won't be, so Jack and Jill will not be able to see what is here. Like they won't be able to read the files. They even won't be able to list the files. So they even won't know the name of the files. Similarly for the other 2. So just like in Windows, if you remember, if you're, let's say, installing some application, sometimes it will ask you to give the administrator privileges, or a dialog box will come up dimming in the entire screen telling, are you sure? So that is basically to make sure that only the person authorized can install, and some random user of that system does not install something on the system. So similarly in Linux, that is done using the root user. So this is different from this root. So the root user is basically a privileged user. So he is the one who makes all the changes to the actual system. So John can only make changes into /home/John. Similarly, Jack can only make changes in /home/Jack. But root is a user who can make changes in any place inside the file system. So he also has a home directory, although it is not inside /home, just for added security. So even if the entire home directory is deleted, the root can still function because his like home directory is stored in another folder outside it. But yeah, so now these folders, user, bin, lib, they all serve their own purposes. So bin stands for binary. So all the things installed, right? So all the commands which you run, things like cd, ls, free, which we were discussing earlier. So all these are commands which are installed, and their binary files are stored inside /bin. So on some systems, it may be symlinked to some other folders like /user/bin. So we'll see that later. But usually this is the structure. And then lib is short for library. So any libraries which you have. So let's say when you're doing C. So I think you have C as a core requisite of this course, right? To this Linux course.
A prerequisite.
Prerequisite. All right. Yeah. So you would have learned C before this, right? So in C, you will do multiple things like #include, right? So you will include multiple libraries. So things like std_lib or std_io for the input output. So all those libraries are stored nowhere but here only. So inside the /lib, not just the C libraries, but C, Python, Java, any library that you need to store, other things also are stored in /lib. And then similarly, user has some shared things, so things which you can access even as a normal user. So there are other folders also, things like temp is there, which is a folder which is actually not, like the files are not stored permanently there. So if you put something in /temp, it will be automatically deleted after some time. So either when the server reboots or after some fixed time. So similarly, multiple such places are there. /temp is also another folder which these other people can access